Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So Arizona Congressman Paul Gosar couldn't be bothered to show up and vote for the recent COVID relief package and the aid that his constituents need, those who have lost their jobs, lost their health insurance. So why? Well, he lied and he said it was due to, quote, the ongoing public health emergency. You know, that thing that Republicans deny and then refuse to wear a mask to prevent, that COVID health emergency, the thing that you were supposed to go to vote on. But the real reason is that Gosar couldn't show up to vote on this new relief bill because he was too busy hanging out with known white supremacists. And I'm not joking. This is not hyperbole. This is not we think, I'm just painting everybody with a broad brush of white supremacy. Rather than doing his job and helping struggling Americans, he was instead giving a speech at the America First Political Action Conference that was organized by Trump-loving racist and anti-Semite Nick Fuentes. If you're not familiar with Fuentes, I'll just give you a brief snapshot of who this guy is. He's not only been kicked off of various social media platforms, numerous social media platforms, because he violated their hate speech policies, but he also was at the Capitol and took part in that terrorist attack on January 6th, as were many of his radicalized followers. And this white supremacist event last Friday, which is where Gosar spoke, at that event, Fuentes praised the attack on the Capitol. He called it awesome. At the same event last Friday, because he's blatantly racist, he said that America needs to protect and maintain its, quote, white demographic core. He then went on to say that Black Lives Matter is about creating a new racial system in the US with, quote, whites at the bottom, because, yeah, that's what Black people are asking for. Not just equality, not just to be treated exactly like white people by the police. No, they want to be at the top. Yeah, that's their whole goal. Fuentes also said, quote, if America ceases to retain that English cultural framework and the influence of European civilization, if it loses its white demographic core, and if it loses its faith in Jesus Christ, then this is not America anymore. Dear God, where do I even start with this lunacy and bullshit? This guy is a perfect example of how our educational system is failing our youth. He's like Exhibit A. He must have been homesick when they explained that white people actually stole the country after slaughtering Native Americans, who, by the way, were not white. And then who wants to tell him about Jesus Christ and the fact that he wasn't white either? Oh, he will not be happy when he finds that out. When reality hits him between the eyes on that one, whoo, I'd love to be a fly on the wall. So this guy is 22. How the hell is he so afraid? How do you live like this? How is he so afraid of his own shadow? I get it. I get his shadow is black, and that's a scary color apparently for him. But seriously, this poor kid, how does he leave his house every day being this terrified? Anyway, back to Gosar, the Gosarian.
Some creatures, Gosar the Gosarian, Gosar the Destructor, Volga Sildroha, the Traveler has come.
So he was the keynote speaker at this white supremacist event. And when he was called out on it the next day, because he went there and then he flew to Florida to do the CPAC event. So couldn't be bothered to vote to help Americans with the COVID relief, but he could attend both of these events. So when they asked him about this and told him, hey, are you concerned about some of the things that were said at this event? He said, oh, yes, I have a problem with white racism. Oh, really? And then he excused the fact that he was there, saying that there were a lot of young people in attendance. And so he wants to hear what they have to say. And he wants to reach out because these are basically the Republican leaders of tomorrow. And, you know, this is how you bring new young people into the party. First of all, let's not forget that Gozar was one of the people who allegedly helped to plan that pre-insurrection event on January 6th with Ali Alexander. Ali Alexander himself named Paul Gozar as one of the people who helped him to put that whole thing together. And isn't the Republican Party the one with people all over social media and our elected leaders, Republican leaders, saying how they're the party of Lincoln and how Democrats were the one who wanted to maintain slavery? I mean, yes, that was true. It clearly is no longer the case. So again, our educational system must suck because apparently no one in the Republican Party understands how the parties have experienced major shifts and realignments over the past many decades. If you're really trying to attract young people to your party, this ain't it. You might want to look at some polling. You might want to steer clear of these alt-right white males with fragile egos who live in a perpetual state of victimhood and fear. Because the majority of millennials and Gen Zers want nothing to do with this. It is a fringe element, and aligning with this fringe element may win you some primaries in deep red districts, but it's likely going to be a losing strategy in general elections, and especially with statewide races in most states. They're going all in on this America First BS as if it's a good idea, as if it polls really high. What are they thinking? Are they not looking at polls? Do they think that they're all BS because they weren't right in 2016? And as you would imagine, Republicans completely silent. Nobody has a word to say about this. Oh, and by the way, Steve King, the other guy who got basically run out of town because he said, what's wrong with the terms white nationalist and white supremacist, among other things, talking about immigrants having calves the size of cantaloupes because they're running across the desert carrying their drugs. Oh, God. But yeah, they like people who tell it like it is. Why don't they tell it like it is? Why don't they just admit that they're racist? All these people say, oh, we love Trump because he tells it like it is, and he's not afraid, and he's not going to be politically correct. Well, then just admit you're freaking racist. If that's what you appreciate, if that's what you respect, own up to it, son. Just say it. All right, guys. I will talk with you soon. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care.